This is podcast 53.
Holy mother of space.
I asked her to forgive us, and I even cried as I stroked her for the last time.
Well, it's very emotional. What's it about?
The Interplanetary Podcast. The exploration of space for the benefit of all mankind. Your hosts here in London, Matthew Russell and Jamie Franklin.
Well, following on from last week, we were celebrating the 60th anniversary of Laika the dog going into space.
Yes, we did. Yeah, sorry about that episode, everyone. Is everyone all right? Because I don't think I am.
No, you've been in therapy, haven't you, this week?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, been in animal space pet death therapy. It's a thing.
And this was the 90-year-old Russian biologist Andaliya Kotovskaya.
Nice.
Kotovskaya, recalling the day she bid farewell to the poor little doggy 60 years ago.
Oh. Well, you know, there's going to be some feelings and emotions going around, and I'm glad that there is.
The Interplanetary Podcast. Putting the ace back into space.
Let me hit you with this. Like, subscribe, follow us, 5-star review. We get rich, you get more podcasts, better interviews. Hell yeah!
All right. So, just work your way to www.interplanetary.org.uk.
That's where to go to.
Yeah, or just type Interplanetary Podcast into Google, and we're all over it.
Of course, when we say we get rich, you know, guys, we're only joking. We'd never have that.
We don't get a penny. We don't get a penny.
We don't get a penny. And whilst, of course, Matt's not looking for money, he's looking for money.
I'm looking for love for space.
One small step for Matt, one giant leap for Matt's love.
Oh, that's beautiful. One small subscribe to the podcast. One giant leap for podcast
one giant
kind.
Leap in our iTunes reviews.
Nice.
Matt, I'll tell you who I'm excited about hearing from today. Jean-Jacques Favier.
Jean-Jacques Favier.
Again, one of our favourites.
One of our favourites,
from our Dutch road trips.
Obviously, he's French with a name like Jean-Jacques Favier, isn't he?
Can't get more French.
So, he's a French engineer and former CNES astronaut. So that is what the French astronauts belonged to, CNES, before they became ESA astronauts. And he flew aboard the STS-78 mission.
He did, and after that, I mean, this is, wow. So he was due to fly aboard the tragic Columbia mission in 2003, but later signed out of the mission. Now, I assume when it says signed out of the mission, he was told that he was no longer needed, or did he stop?
No, I think he decided he didn't want to. That he didn't want to do that mission. So I think he.
God, that's crazy.
I don't know what the reasons were, but yes, he didn't fly on Columbia, which must be a very odd feeling for him.
Really odd. Yeah, really odd. Blimey. So, Matt, 1971, received an engineering degree.
That's the year of my birth, by the way, for those people keeping a track.
Absolutely.
When they want to, give me a birthday present.
Just give them a shout out. And this was from Grenoble Institute of Technology.
Yep. Then he got his PhD from the École des Mines de Paris in 1977.
Also in 1977, earning another PhD, this time in
metallurgy and physics.
Metallurgy. Yeah. Wow, that's beautiful.
Or metallurgy.
And that was from the University of Grenoble as well.
Although the French might say completely different. He's been an advisor to the Director of Material Science Research, CEREM, and at the French Atomic Energy Commission, CEA. So he proposed the Mephisto program. Mephisto is an acronym for something, which is a collaborative project between French Space and NASA, and developed many scientific projects since 1985. So he's,
Matt, do you know what the interesting thing about Mephisto is?
Yeah, go on then.
It's on the end of Mahando. Actually, you know what? As hilarious as that pun is, I kind of got it wrong. I should have said my armo, shouldn't I?
Oh, yeah, of course you should have said it on.
Because your fist kind of is your hand, isn't it? But, I'll work on that.
Yeah, it's good, though. I think it stands for Materials Processing Experiment.
Really?
But I don't know. It doesn't. It seems to be seems to be missing quite a few
adding
bits
a
in there.
T and an O. Oh, well, that's interesting. So he was
French.
So he was the principal investigator for Mephisto Materials Processing Experiment, which made its debut in the United States microgravity payload in 92 and 94.
So let's just quickly talk about his STS-78 flight. Yeah. That was also Columbia, so it was a Columbia flight, and he logged 405 hours in space and on a 16-day Life and Microgravity Space Lab mission. So Space Lab was a bit like the Columbus module that's now on the ISS, but Space Lab was like a module that sat in the payload bay of the space shuttle. So very similar to being like a kind of... it basically turned the space shuttle into a kind of International Space Station laboratory style thing.
Very cool.
Really cool. So it's a precursor to all that, and it's very much a European... thing, hence we find European astronauts like Jean-Jacques aboard it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But there were 10 other nations involved and 5 other space agencies to conduct full microgravity studies. And we're going to talk about microgravity later on, Jamie, in a special feature of Misconceptions of Space.
Oh, I'm excited about this one. I've been rabbiting on about it for months.
So guess how many miles he went when he was flying around the Earth on the Columbia?
I'm going to just pluck a number out the air. 7 million?
7 million.
Yes.
That's not bad, is it?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that is pretty good. And there was 22 life science and microgravity experiments. So yeah, that's using the LM2 Space Lab module.
My personal favourite.
Yeah, so shall we let's stop rabbiting on, shall we? Shall we just listen to the man himself? I love this interview, and I think this was the first one we did, wasn't it?
It was the very first one, so let's pop our cherry together.
Yeah, so écoutez.
It's time for Astronaut.
So good morning, my name is Jean-Jacques Favier. I'm French, and I was a former astronaut. I flew on the Space Shuttle Columbia in 1996. My background, I'm a physicist and engineer, so I flew as a payload specialist that is responsible for the instrumentations on board. I was a professor at the International Space University up to 1 week ago, so I retired just now. And took this opportunity to come here in ESTEC, in the Netherlands, for the Open Day. The Open Day is the possibility for the public from this country, but also from all over Europe, to come and visit all the facilities here. So last time we had more than 9,000 people visiting during the day, and we expect, because the weather is good today, we expect to get also some 10,000 coming.
Wow, amazing. We're really excited to be here. So now
I made a lot of things in my professional career as an engineer, scientist, as an astronaut also, and then as a professor recently. So I had a lot of fun in my job. I was lucky for that. Of course, if I had just to keep one day out of all of this, probably the launch of my flight will be this day, because just so unique, I expected this day since about 11 years. I've been selected. The first selection in France was 11 years before my flight. Yeah. So I was so impassioned to go into space and to travel in space, but also to work in space, because as a scientist, actually, I considered that my flight and the mission I was responsible for was the continuation of my job as a scientist. I prepared some experiments in my lab, and on my flight I flew 3 experiments prepared in my lab with my colleagues. So preparation on the ground as a scientist and developing of the engineering models and everything, flying these experiments, manipulating in space, and then after the flight, actually, and the full analysis of the experiment. So I made a full circle, which is rare actually in this job.
So the whole journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have any favourite astronauts growing up, or who is your space hero?
Well, I followed all the programs since the very beginning, because I remember in the first flight of Gagarin, for instance, I remember easily because he flew just the eve of my 12th birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
So an age where actually you understand what happens, and therefore he was for a long time my hero. Okay. But I never imagined at that time that I will be able to join this program, because it was just for superheroes and so and for people not too tall, and I grew up, and so I was not able to. I thought I will not be able actually to fly because of my height. But thanks to the shuttle program. The shuttle program, so you can fly tall people like me. I was the tallest one, by the way. But
very jealous.
Yeah. I started as a French, so we were able either to go flying with the Soviets or Russians or with the Americans. So I started the training at the Star City with the Soviet at that time. And after 6 weeks, we had the training in the Soyuz capsule, and they discovered that I was too tall for the Soyuz. They said, you will not be able to fly with us. Yeah. Today I could fly in the Soyuz because they changed actually the seat. But at that time, I was too tall. So the only way for me to fly was actually to fly with the Americans on the shuttle. And this is what I was able to do 11 years later.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that must have been a sweet relief when you're finally sitting in a seat. No wonder.
When I was saying that this is probably the day I will keep in mind the longest. The launch of my flight.
Amazing. So what would you say is the most important work that ESA is doing at the moment?
Well, ESA is doing a lot of things, as you know, of course. Well, ESA is continuing doing very deep science, but also is taking into consideration more and more applications, space applications, and also trying to follow the trend which has started in the United States of what we call the new space, where you actually could fly experiments very cheaply compared to the past, So, as a professor at the International Space University, I was the research director, and we flew small experiments. We have nanosatellites that you can fly, or nano experiments on the space station that you can develop for less than 100,000 euros. So this is affordable for students, universities, and also for commercial applications. So things are changing, and I think ESA, like the main space agencies, are following this new trend now. And of course, as a scientist, I will say that exploration will be very important in the years to come, and I think we will be back on the moon soon now, and probably go to Mars in the 15 years to come.
Yeah, so that actually leads me on to my final question, which is, do you think we should be going to the moon first, or do you think we should be going to Mars? And which one would you do? Would you go to the moon or go to Mars?
I think it makes sense to go back to the moon for actually long duration or permanent residence there, for scientists, for explorers who could also try to make commercial activities using the in-situ resources. And this will be a good step forward in the frame of the final destination, which is Mars today. We cannot imagine having humans on another planet, so Mars is really the final destination. And of course, we had already a lot of robotic missions on Mars. But if you want to talk about exploration, you need actually the human presence on board. You can actually send robots to make some preliminary measurements and preliminary studies, but by definition, science and research is the unknown. Okay, so you cannot just have robots doing it for you. You should have the human imagination on board, and therefore human missions make sense on Mars.
Absolutely. I'm afraid Matt lied. I've got 2 more questions for you. But the first one actually is quite an interesting one. I want to know what your favourite space fact is.
I think it was July 1969.
July 1969, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense. I remember at that time because if I was junior, I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
And my parents didn't get the TV at the time, so I remember going to my uncle who had a black and white poor TV, to see these images. And I remember this night when I was looking at Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, and from time to time going out in the backyard, look at the moon,
looking up.
These guys out there.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Yeah, that is mine.
Amazing.
That's
exactly.
Yeah.
So we wanted to. A lot of the people who listen to our show obviously want to know what advice that someone like yourself might have for somebody wanting to become an astronaut, and maybe what the best advice that you were given was when you were starting.
Wow, that's a tough question.
Yeah,
actually.
I'm sure.
Especially today, because when I flew, we had more flight opportunities with the shuttle than today. Okay, mission was shorter, but we had up to 50 astronauts flying every year.
Yes.
Today you have I have 10, a dozen. Okay, so what because as a professor at the International Space University, my students come to me and say, but what can I do actually to be an astronaut myself? I say, that's a good dream to have to be an astronaut, but it should not be the only dream you have. Try to learn as much as you can, and in general have actually a double profile, like engineer and astrophysicist, or engineer, medical doctor, or things like this, because then the people who will make this kind of mission will be limited in number, so they should have knowledge on many things, So the best for you actually is to go as far as you can in your studies, double profile in preference, and have actually the dream of being an astronaut as a cherry on the cake.
Absolutely, that's the bonus.
Yeah,
right.
The bonus. Yeah,
that's fantastic advice. Thank you very much for joining
us
on the show.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
I hope it helps.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Right, what a great guy, huh?
Such a great guy. Another person that I would want as a grandparent.
Yeah, I think he can come round. We can play.
We can eat Werthers, but I could also say, could you tell me about your laboratory work in zero gravity?
I wonder if he'd be good at Trivial Pursuit. I've got a feeling it would be really irritating playing Trivial Pursuit with astronauts.
Yeah, that's true, especially French ones, because he'd just say that's a French word, and we wouldn't know.
Yeah, true.
Legend.
A little bit of space news, Jamie.
Go on.
It's. I don't know whether this is new. I don't know whether we can consider this news.
Yeah.
About SpaceX, but SpaceX are aiming for a late December launch of Falcon Heavy.
Ooh.
For me, that wasn't it supposed to be November, so now it's slipped back. But that's quite exciting, isn't it? That means it's in a month.
Yeah.
Possibly in a month, we might see Falcon Heavy. But something we haven't talked about on the podcast. We've barely mentioned old Elon Musk, have we?
Well,
on the podcast.
We don't talk about him.
No, drink.
True.
So, and I haven't had a chance to unleash my Elon Musk.
Oh my goodness! You can't keep this from the world, Matt.
No, so maybe I might play it. I might play it next week. But I think that we should note that there's been a little bit of chitter chatter in what's the point really of a Falcon Heavy if he really is going to build the BFR.
Yes.
And maybe Falcon Heavy will fly a couple of times and then it'll be like, well, now we're just using the BFR.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what really happens.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
So 29th of December is when it might fly. So that'll be a nice little kind of, I'll be at home, full of Christmas turkey.
So will I, and it's my mum's birthday, so I'll be at home full of turkey.
Oh,
and I can sit there with my lovely mum and say, happy birthday, mum. Should we check what Musk has done? And she'll be like, what?
Do you think we can get away with flying out at Christmas time to Pad 39A?
Oh yeah, it'd be fine
to check it out.
If I know Musk, he'll send us tickets like VIP tickets. Probably stick us in some kind of hyperloop from Europe to the States.
Yes, a hyperloop ticket.
Yeah,
because that's going to be finished on time.
Oh, exactly. Be well quick.
So I'm taking the Mickey a little bit out of SpaceX by saying that we get schedules slipping all over the place.
Yeah.
But SpaceX are probably on Monday going to double their record of launches in a year, and it's only November. So it looks like they're going to actually get this. What would it be, the 16th flight?
I mean, they might be over optimistic, but he knows that, and he always takes the mick out of himself for that. They still always end up smashing it out of the park eventually.
Yeah,
I'm hoping this will be no different, Matt.
Yeah, so this is a Korean satellite he's launching on Monday, so I'm definitely going to be watching that. They are absolutely steamrolling their Falcons out the door at the moment.
Well, let's hope he puts his heart and soul into this launch.
That's very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Oh
dear.
What? Yeah, so that's 1.5 times a month he's launching, which is a spectacular rate, isn't it? Well done, Elon Musk.
Well done
for that. On the flip side of that, I've got another Elon Musk story that I picked up from an absolutely fantastic article, again by Eric Berger in Ars Technica.
Oh yeah,
and basically there's a kind of from reading this article, it seems that there's a kind of lobbying group that are using their power to kind of try and rubbish Elon Musk a little bit. And they're doing this because obviously there's a lot of American interest in companies like the United Launch Alliance, who are losing business at a rapid rate to this upstart Musk.
Yes.
So so that's a really interesting article that I suggest everyone go out and that's an article by Roberto. It's called Breitbart: Other Conservative Outlets Escalate Anti-SpaceX Campaign. So there's a lot of the kind of right-wing press in America are rubbishing John McCain and Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Totally incorrectly. Proper fake news articles that are just simply inaccurate, but I think Eric Berger doesn't think that it's a kind of right-wing conspiracy. He thinks it's much more of a kind of people with money conspiracy.
Right? Yeah. Well, I think. Yeah, God, isn't it ironic, Matt? This whole fake news that they're always the ones screaming about fake news, against them, and it's often them.
Be careful what you read. So, yeah, poor old Musk, he's come into a bit of criticism when really they should be, singing the praises of someone who's manufacturing a rocket completely in America, unlike
Do you think he really worries, though? Do you really think he worries that much about them?
Well,
people like Breitbart, they're a joke.
Yeah, but they're not a joke.
They're powerful, but I think surely
joke.
Someone like him would just go, well, it's Breitbart,
Yeah, but I think it's a joke. I don't know. I think it's a joke this side of the Atlantic. I don't think it plays out that funny out over in America, though. I think
no. What I mean by
that's
joke
depressing.
Is
no, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Why would Musk lose sleep over these idiots?
No, I don't think he does. But it must be a little bit frustrating.
I did see a video of Musk having a large whiskey round a campfire singing songs. So I don't think he's too worried.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Have another one, Elon.
So we were talking about animals in space last week, Jamie.
Yeah.
And recently, experts in interstellar travel. This is a piece by Leonard David on his own website.
Yes.
And he says experts in interstellar travel have picked future candidates to make the first extrasolar trek. Now, who do you think it's going to be?
Ooh, I don't know. Hit me.
It's going to be the old tardigrades, of course.
Oh, yes, of course it is.
So tardigrades will probably be our first interstellar travellers, along with the old nematodes as well.
Oh, you can't leave them behind.
No, did you ever see my video of tardigrades that I did under my microscope?
I did.
How cool is that?
Very cool. Yeah,
in fact, I did a video of a nematode as well.
Did you?
Amazing, cool. Yeah, you just literally get some moss from your back garden, stick it in some water, sieve it out, put it under a microscope, and you get to see these little amazing creatures that are just so important for life on Earth. Wow, huh?
I think you need to stick the link up.
Yeah, so I might stick one of those on a little hot air balloon and see if I can get a tardigrade in space.
Put that up.
Yeah, tardigrade. Good, I like it.
We'll have to do a tardigrade jingle, Matt.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh my god, tardigrade. Oh, tardigrade jingle. You've got me thinking. That's a great one.
That's your homework for next week.
That is my homework for next week.
So what else is going on, Matt?
Well, you asked for, and I think we should do a little section on this because I think there's some brilliant things in here about little space misconceptions.
I love this kind of stuff. This is really my kind of thing, Matt.
So I agree. I think there's some. What's really funny is that I've actually learned a couple of things that really totally. I've got completely wrong in my head.
I mean, this is the good thing because actually it's just more of me educating myself about going. Oh, what do you mean the sun's not on fire? Like, what do you mean the sun is not a big ball of fire just raging in our solar system? You know. Turns out, Matt, it's a big ball of gas.
A big ball of gas that's extremely hot.
Who knew?
I think scientists knew. I think that this is the point here.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, I think a really good one is I think if you asked most people, they would say that Mercury is the hottest planet, and the reason why it's the hottest is because it's nearest the sun.
And that's false. Let me tell you why, Matt.
Yeah, go on.
Because it doesn't really matter. Because as we know, Matt, Venus is the hottest because of its thick atmosphere.
Yeah, and
see what we're learning?
And even better than that is on Earth, obviously we're in an elliptical orbit. Now, in the northern hemisphere, when it's summer, we're actually further away from the sun than we are in winter. So our distance from the sun really doesn't make any difference. It's much more to do with the jaunty angle that the Earth axis is at. That creates the seasons. It's nothing to do with whether we get nearer or further away from the sun. But I think most people probably think that that's what happens.
I'll tell you what I want to know, Matt. Mm-hmm. When we go, if we flew to space and you threw me out of a rocket, would I explode?
That is the usual thing, isn't it? Where you see people flying out of spacecraft and without a spacesuit and they explode.
Yeah.
Not true. In fact, remember, actually, didn't we talk to, wasn't that something that Michael Foale said, in fact, when he said that, or I've certainly seen it where he, when the Mir space station was crashed into by a Soyuz, he said that the first thing he was thinking of was, and the first thing he did is exhale all his breath.
Yes.
Because that you kind of would explode if you had a sort of a lung full of air. Yeah.
Yes, and the water in your blood.
So the water in your blood actually does start to boil, or the blood itself, because all the dissolved gases.
Wouldn't be pretty.
Yeah.
But apparently so you just bloat because the skin would keep you together.
Yeah, so I think you've got about 20 seconds, haven't you, before I mean, I think you're going to be in serious trouble pretty much instantly, but you've got 20 seconds before you'll die, as long as you kind of do all the right procedures. But it's basically an extreme version of the bends that you get. So it's a bit like going down to the bottom of the ocean and coming up too fast.
So what you're saying is it it would be like Cannibal Corpse covering Radiohead.
Exactly. Exactly right. So, what my least favourite thing that I hear all the time is that NASA spent millions of pounds developing a pen, and the Russians just took a pencil.
Yeah, I mean, it's just silly, isn't it?
Yeah. So basically, it's just simply not true.
So how much money did they spend? Was it just $2 million?
No, they just didn't spend any money. It was just a company, and NASA and the Soviets both used the Fisher anti-gravity space pen because it was a great pen, not because of any other reasons.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. But here's what I was talking about earlier on. You know, we were talking about microgravity.
Yes.
So when you're in a spaceship or when you're in space, everyone thinks that your weightlessness, that you're in zero gravity. Right? It's just not true. In fact, it's the fact that you're in the presence of gravity that you're floating around the International Space Station.
Right.
Yeah, and it's really the fact that you're falling. It's just that you're falling. That's why you're floating around. The International Space Station is continually falling towards the Earth. But it just so happens to be that the Earth's curvature is exactly the same as the spaceship's falling down. So it sort of stays at the same height all the time. And obviously you have to get to a certain speed to achieve that. And that's obviously the speed that you choose will determine what height you are in orbit.
That is mad.
And so so you're not actually experience you're not experience weightlessness. You're falling. It's not the lack of gravity. It's the fact that gravity is actually there.
I'll tell you what, Matt. I've definitely learnt that one.
Yeah. Dark Side of the Moon. This is quite
the Moon. Yeah,
this is quite a hard one to get your.
It's a tricky one
to get your head around.
Let me start off by saying that this definitely was one that I never really thought about that much, because how often do you really think about it? But as the moon, am I getting this right? Stop me if I'm wrong, Matt. I'm not reading any notes for once. So the moon doesn't orbit the Earth once a day, as some people think. I believe it's, 27, something like 27.3 days. It does one orbit of the Earth. And because it's turning at the same time as orbiting, we only ever see the same side of the moon. But there isn't a dark side of the moon per se. It's not dark. It gets just as much sun as the front. It's just that we never see it. Hence, dark side of the moon.
This is known as being tidally locked.
Yes.
So it's been spinning around, and actually this is exactly what's happened probably to Proxima C. It's probably tidally locked. So because obviously the bulge of the planet slows the orbiting moon down. It's essentially that it's kind of always pointing towards the thing that it's orbiting around.
Yes.
Obviously, the Earth has kept its spin as it spins around the Sun because it's far enough out that it hasn't been sort of slowed down in that way. Whereas the Moon has, and it's basically over time, it's just eventually one face gets stuck pointing at the Earth. So it's tidally locked. But yeah, of course, as the Earth goes round the Sun and as the Moon goes round the Earth, there is no dark side. So the dark side of the moon, just because we can't see it, it still gets day just as much as the side that we do see. It still gets daylight on both sides.
And that'll explain tides in our oceans, right, Matt?
Yeah, well, as the moon goes round, yes, it pulls a big bulge of water, both at the side that the moon is on and at the other side as well. So there's a big bulge either side of the Earth, whichever side the moon is on. Sound in space is another one. I was teaching this to my students the other day. You can, just because there's no one can hear you scream in space. Actually, there is a slight medium in space, which means that there are some floating bits of hydrogen and helium bobbing around in there, but they're very, very sparse. But it's enough that you can have extremely low frequency sounds transmitted through that medium. And in fact, the Chandra Space Telescope has picked up those low frequency sounds as they make their way through an enormous explosion stroke galaxy stroke cataclysm. And it can see it from billions of light years away, and that sound actually might help the way that galaxies form. So it might actually be totally cool that the sound can travel in space. That might be vital.
That is pretty mad.
It's mad,
but Matt,
isn't it?
are you going to upset me by saying that in Star Wars, when you hear blasters and lasers and ships going past, like you don't actually hear that?
No, that wouldn't exist.
Oh,
that wouldn't exist. I know.
For the love of God, Lucas.
And that's the another annoying space error in Star Wars that we've mentioned before, is the old Kessel Run.
Yeah.
What's the phrase he uses? He does it in 12 parsecs or something.
12 parsecs, is it?
Is it something like that? And parsecs, of course, is a distance, not a time.
Most annoying. Which, as we said before, is the geekiest, most dad fact ever, isn't it?
Well, also the fact that asteroid belts are hard to fly through, where you've got like all these asteroids that are really close together. Of course, they're absolutely miles away from each other, thousands of millions of miles away from each other. Asteroids. It's like it's so undense. It's hilarious. But the one that I really didn't know, and I must admit, I thought this was true, was when capsules enter the Earth's atmosphere, I thought it was the friction of the atmosphere that heated the capsule up. I really did think that as the capsule came in, that friction, because obviously your capsule's moving at 100,000 miles an hour, say.
Yeah.
But and when it hits the atmosphere, the friction from the air actually heats the thing up. But it's not true. The friction apparently is only a kind of 1%. 1% of the cause of the heat.
Really?
The cause is the biggest contributing factor is the heat is from compression. So as the craft comes in, the air gets compressed and can't get out of the way in time, and that compression is what causes this huge amount of heat in what's known as a bow shock.
That is nuts.
And so the air in the bow shock is trapped by the spacecraft, and that's what causes it to heat up. And it doesn't allow for it to decompress or cool, and it just gets trapped there. And that heat is the thing that gets absorbed by the heat shield.
That is crazy. Matt, I know that we attract a lot of listeners from the rock and roll fraternity, because we're a bit rock and roll, aren't we?
Yeah, totally.
So I'd like to say, if there's any young bands who haven't yet got a name, we'd like you to be called
Bowshock. Yeah, Bowshock is a good name.
I would like to throw that out there. Please send us your demos.
So last week, Jamie, you said you wanted one more space fact.
Yes, please.
Literally revolved around black holes.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to do a trilogy of black hole space facts.
So I found a space fact that someone called Kurt Heckman had delivered somewhere in the vast pool of the internet. A little piece of information that was trapped on the event horizon of the thing we call the internet.
Anyone with the surname Heckman has already got my vote, so give it to me.
Heck yeah. And he's the president of VCalc, which looks like a really interesting kind of website where you can... It's like a sort of resource for calculations and things. Anyway, he says, we live in a black hole. And here's his explanation. Whoa. He says, according to Isaac Asimov's book, The Collapsing Universe, a black hole is defined by the density of matter, where the escape velocity is faster than the speed of light. To understand this, you have to consider what density is. The classic definition of density is mass per unit volume, which I can concur. Based on these two formulas, our universe is a black hole. The mass of all the matter in the universe, within the volume of space containing all the galaxies, is such that the escape velocity is greater than the speed of light. Therefore, our universe is a black hole, and we live in it.
Deep space. Good work, Kurt. That's amazing.
That's bare deep. That's bare deep,
That is
fam.
bare deep, cuz. Oh my goodness, my head hurts again.
Goodness. Thanks very much for joining us again. And as we said at the beginning,
Thanks, everyone.
subscribe.
Subscribe, 5 stars, comment, like, share, repeat, dream.
Email.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
See you.
Au revoir.